Hi, everybody. This is our book club for True Biz. I'm Alyssa. Do y'all want to introduce yourselves?
There you go. I'm Sydney. Nice to meet y'all. Put a name to the face.
Hi there. My name is Steven, and my last name is Doyle. It's nice to meet both of you. I'm looking forward to our discussion for the book. So it's been a great book so far. I'm eager to go ahead and get started. And then I'm Shannon Jacobs. I'm interpreting for Steven today.
I can start with the first question. The book format switches perspectives from one character to the next and showing a first person every time. What do y'all think of this format?
Sydney, do you want to? I guess I can answer. So I mean, I really think it's written in a great, I think the format works really well to show different characters whenever you're jumping between characters. It's interesting. It's an interesting style of writing. And so it's not typical of how we normally would view like speech or whatnot, but the author shows, changes the format to show different character perspectives. So I think it's great.
I thought it was really interesting because I read a lot of books that go from character to character, but it's never been like an.
Sydney, can you hear us? I think you're frozen. All right, I guess Alyssa, do you want to just keep going?
Okay, was there any aspect of this book that you thought didn't relate well to deaf culture or signs?
Hold on, let me pull up that question really quick. Can you say that one more time? Would you mind reading that again?
Yes, was
There
there
was
any
whenever she jumped out, it changed the pictures around, or the tiles around rather. Go ahead.
was there any part of the book that you disagreed with as it related to deaf culture or signing?
So there was a little bit that I disagreed with. I mean, I know every person has their own unique perspective, and as for a deaf person's perspective versus a hearing person's perspective, I would have liked to have seen more of that kind of shift between cultures. So I guess that part I kind of disagreed with a little.
Sydney, are you back?
Sydney, I think you're still frozen, maybe. I guess we'll just keep on going. Do you think that's okay?
Sure. Do you want to ask your questions?
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think happened to the character Charlie during the school shutdown? What do you think happened with that student or that individual?
Yeah, I think she probably went back to the mainstream setting that she had been in before. I think she might have gotten an interpreter with her at that point instead of trying to rely only on audio input. But I think she still probably would have gone back mainstream.
Sydney, did you hear that question? Did you get that?
No, am I back? Can y'all see me and hear me and everything? Hey, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening.
It's fine.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Okay. No, can you repeat the question?
Sure. So the question I just asked, I said, do you think the character Charlie, after the school shut down, what do you think happened? Just curious, what do you think happened with her education?
Okay. I think she, like Elise said, that she would have gone back to the mainstream, but since she no longer has a working cochlear implant, and hopefully she didn't have to get one put in again because she was so against it, that she would have an interpreter or maybe could even find another residential school to go to.
Great. Okay. Let's see. My next question. What do you think the principal, let's see, the principal February, what do you think they, or what do you think they could have done to prevent the school closure? Do you think there's anything that they could have done better?
I think she tried to do the best she could, just with like the lack of finance and with the discrimination against the school in that school district. There wasn't really a lot she could do, sadly. I think she did what she could because you could tell that in the book, like she really truly cared for her students.
I think it might have been helpful if she had told more people sooner and just like they could have possibly given input and different ways to like raise money or something. But for the most part, I think there wasn't really anything she could do, sadly.
All right. Sydney, do you have your questions?
Yes. Okay. So my first question is, do you think after Austin's parents saw the result of the cochlear implant in Charlie, they would still want one for Skylar?
Alyssa, you want to go ahead and answer?
Sure. I think that's a hard question. I was surprised that they were considering the cochlear implant to begin with, and I think that they likely were less likely to get the implant after everything happened, especially with Austin so against it. And her, like, the dad was there to witness what happened for part of it. So I think it's a lot less likely, but I don't know that it's for sure like no.
I would say, let's see, I was a little surprised as well when I was reading that part. I thought with Austin, I thought his dad might have supported inclusion and supported learning ASL and everything, but um, I really have mixed feelings about all of it. I know that perspective, Charlie's perspective, I understand the struggle, and I could relate to that. And so, for the cochlear implant to not work successfully, maybe the parents might have been nervous or scared for to do the implant on Austin. But I mean, I don't know, to drop that on a child, it seems difficult to say.
Yeah. I think that was definitely one of the most surprising parts in the book is how much the dad wanted the cochlear implant for Skylar. I was really taken aback by that. Um, and my next question is, did y'all like the end of the book or did y'all feel it was too sudden? Like I had to read the very end chapter like 2 times because I didn't like the ending. I felt like it was way too sudden, like way too much of a stopping point. It just felt odd.
Yeah, I also thought it was sudden. I was reading it and then I was so confused at like February just let them go, but it doesn't like go into what actually happened by them like breaking out and all of that. And then they're just like everybody's happy, but they're not really happy because the school's shutting down, and I don't know.
Yeah, I totally I agree with that. Very much so. I kind of oh, so I was kind of, following along with each character, and I thought, what will happen in the future? What will happen when the school closes down? Um, and so, I mean, of course, in the book, it's kind of hard to, you can't really look ahead of what's going to happen after the conclusion. And so I think I tend to overthink things sometimes, and so my mind just kind of raced to see what might happen in the end. But I agree. Yeah, I felt like I was a little disappointed in the ending. I would have rather have known. Maybe the author could have expanded a little bit more and gone into a little more detail on different character perspectives, maybe.
I don't know what point I would have wanted it to stop at though. I think it was like it calmed down enough that it was a good stopping point, but I also wish there was more. But if you keep going, then you just have to keep going. So
Yeah. Yeah, those are two of my questions. Do we want to go back to, I forgot, I think Elise, you started with, right?
yes. What was y'all's favorite part of the book and why?
So I think my favorite part of the book, let's see, um, maybe because Charlie is so resistant toward their parents. Um, I kind of liked that honesty, um, especially toward the dad, like learning ASL. I mean, I know that they might have tried their best to give or to provide access in ASL, but I really tend to root for Charlie.
Yeah, I do too. I think my favorite part of the book was Charlie as a whole. I think it was so interesting, like seeing how she went through life and stuff. And I kind of like almost related to her because taking the deaf culture class has like really kind of opened my eyes to some things. And I've even talked to my parents about it, like, oh, would you have not gotten me hearing aids? Because I have like moderate to severe hearing loss. And so it was just really interesting, like seeing Charlie and kind of like seeing a little bit of myself in her. I think just her as a whole was my favorite.
I really liked how the book had like multiple aspects of deaf culture with adding in black deaf culture and the little teaching moments throughout. Plus also you like relate with this character who's struggling to fit between worlds.
Yeah, that was a really good question. So I guess my third question would be, why do you think many, let's see. Okay, let me see this again. Why do you think there were so many issues with, as far as like curing deaf people and with cochlear implants, hearing aids? Why do you think people, let's see, I don't understand the question. Oh, why are there so many misconceptions about deaf culture and cochlear implants and hearing aids? Why do you think that's the case?
I'll go first if you don't mind. I think because there's just so many different like I'm so sorry. I'm at the beach right now. I'm like dive. I'm at the beach right now, and the rest of my family's at the beach when my dad's having to work as well. So we're kind of sharing the beach house. I'm trying to not let him distract us, but anyway. I think because like for hearing people, they're like they always want to fix things. Like they don't you know, if something's wrong, they want to fix it. And so they had this misconception that you just need to fix the deaf culture and like deaf people for some reason. And like they just want to be like the savior in their eyes. They want to make everyone think like, oh, like we did this, like we saved them, like the deaf culture and like the deaf community doesn't need saving. So I think that their biggest like they just want to be looked at as the saviors of the deaf community.
I think also because a lot of hearing people have never met a deaf person prior to like having a kid who is deaf, and then you like don't understand that there is a deaf culture or that there is a benefit of deafness. So you're looking for, you see the loss instead of looking at the individual. And so I think that from that perspective, they think you have to fix it. So you're looking for anything to be able to fix it. And they don't think about how little gain that you get from different things, or that you're losing access to the deaf culture by trying to fix it.
Gotcha. All right, Sydney, do you have a question? The next question?
Yes. So, was there a character that y'all really related with? I kind of already answered this with like Charlie, but do y'all have a character that y'all related with?
Alyssa, do you want to go first?
Um, I think the character that I like liked following along with the most was definitely Charlie. But I don't know that there was I couldn't relate to her in the same way since I am not deaf, but could feel the like struggle of fitting in and like feeling your right place. And that is something that I have struggled with in my life.
For myself, I think I related to Austin, because he was completely deaf, big D deaf. There was a little bit of conflict between Austin and like on the residential campus. I was mainstreamed in school and I had interpreters with me. And so I did go through school signing, but as far as like the deaf community and involvement in the deaf community, I related quite a bit to Austin. I've got kind of mixed feelings about cochlear implants and that sort of thing. And so, I mean, just, completely honest, it's something that I haven't stopped thinking about since reading the book. So, but I think I'm mostly related to Austin.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have any other questions?
Yes, I can
Yeah, I
go.
can ask another one. Or did you want to go?
I don't care.
I'll just ask my fourth question because I don't mind. So who was your favorite or least favorite character and why?
Alyssa, do you want to go ahead and answer?
Sure. I think I really liked Austin. He was my favorite character. I just loved how his personality, it was great. And how he would like joke with Charlie and get her involved with, and like teach her also. Um, I think my least favorite character was February. I There wasn't anything that she was like doing wrong. I just didn't like relate to her as much.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite character, let's see, it would have to be Austin, of course, for all of the reasons I just explained. My least favorite character, might have been Charlie's mom.
Mm.
I struggled. I just kind of wanted to wring her neck. Charlie's mom kind of made me crazy. As I read it, many things that I read, I just couldn't believe what I was reading. And so that definitely was frustrating. And she was my least favorite.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I loved Austin. I loved how like inclusive he was and how, he got her into the groups and taught her and just completely immersed her into the community. And then yeah, Charlie's mom. Oh, that made me so mad reading. It made me so mad. I definitely didn't like her. But I kind of get where you're coming with February as well. Just I don't know. Her and her I think her name was Mel. I didn't understand why there was so much toward them. I just kind of it it just felt extra, like added. But
Yeah, that relates to one of my questions, which I asked, why do you think the author focused so much on February's like marital problems and status? And do you think there could have been something else that she could have focused on more? Or did you like how much the focus was?
So if I can, I'm just going to go on and answer this one. I think really just to add extra, a different perspective, different issues that people struggle with, and with February, as a principal, and then the marital status and whatnot. I think that was just really to show a different perspective. I mean, I feel like the author was trying to include so many different perspectives, and maybe that's why the author decided to focus on that, like that relationship, that whole situation. Um, I kind of feel like it didn't relate to deaf culture much,
yeah,
but
yeah, that's kind of where I was coming from. I just didn't understand why there was so much focus because like I got it with her and her mom because her mom was deaf and like she's going through her own like struggles and stuff. So I got it with that, but I just didn't understand it with the marital problem. I also just didn't like Mel either. So I don't know if maybe that was the point. Maybe we were supposed to see like that February was struggling on the marital side, which is why she was having such a hard time with, the school closing down and why she decided to do what she did with that. So maybe it was supposed to offer a little bit of insight into her life. But like honestly, it didn't do much with deaf culture, so I could have done without it. But I mean, it wasn't I still enjoyed reading it. Yeah.
I think it was interesting because uh, I I thought it was interesting because Mel was hearing and was not immersed in deaf culture and like could sign very little. And I think that's something that it brought out through that relationship,
Mhm.
but I didn't like the extent of the focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
let's see. Yeah, I agree. So my next question, why do you think Austin's parents, why do you think they decided to implant? So why do you think they made that decision to go ahead with the cochlear implant?
I think it was because the dad was hearing and he wanted so badly to like maybe not feel like an outsider in the family because Austin's like entire family was so many like generations of deafness. Maybe he just wanted to like, be able to talk and sing and all that stuff. But I feel like he kind of went about it the wrong way. Like I don't know. It like if you look at how Austin felt, like he was super upset because he felt like his dad would basically like, when he thought Skylar was hearing, like, oh, she's perfect because she can hear, but that wasn't like the right way to go about it. But I think he really just wanted, to feel like he had somebody on his side.
Yeah, I was surprised by Austin's mom wanting it because she was deaf, but she still was thinking that it was a good idea. I think
Mhm.
all of those reasons make sense for Austin's dad. Although you also see that he's like interpreting in medical areas, so you would think that he would see like the failures of cochlear implants, but he also might see more successes because he was there. Um, but yeah, it definitely surprised me. And I think a lot of it was due to the school closing and them wanting to just like add as many opportunities as possible for Skylar.
And then, Sydney, what is your last question?
My last question is, what did y'all think about how February teachings were included in the book? Like, because you would turn the page and they would have like the Wikipedia article or, the thing about like Deaf President Now or different things like that. So did y'all think that's interesting, a little unnecessary? Like, what did y'all think?
Could you say that one more time? Your question?
What did y'all think about the February teachings being added into the book, like as part of like chapters?
So, I mean, okay. I think as far as like the deaf president now, that was just a short kind of mention. It was nice to include that because that's such a huge part of raising awareness for the deaf community and deaf culture. And so I really didn't, I mean, I didn't mind it. I liked those things added in. I mean, I know that there's so many things that the author could have added in. There's so many things to choose from, that would be, considered good information to include in a book like this.
I liked the variability in the things that she included in those sections. Like one was about like eyebrow usage, raising and lowering for different questions. One was about specific signs and like deaf culture incidences such as Deaf President Now. I was kind of confused with the amount of information on like the related to the revolutionary things of why that like the whole Wikipedia articles were in there because they didn't directly relate to deaf culture or deafness at all, really. But I did like the excerpts.
Yeah. I think it kind of like put you more into like the world of the book because like with the revolutionary it kind of going back to what Kyle, I think is his name. I really want to say Kyle, like what he was talking about with their death or with the revolution and like why his band was named what it was. Um, but I think it just kind of, I thought it was really cool because it kind of put you into the book and into the world. Like you felt like you were learning different things right alongside Charlie. So I thought it was a really cool, um, interesting perspective that I had never seen in a book before.
And then, Alyssa, did you have one more question?
Yeah. My last question was, are there any aspects of deaf culture which you wish had been included in the book?
So, yes, I wish that, maybe add in some more history. Like for example, so I grew up, with shit like that alarm, like alarms, shaking alarms, TTYs, maybe adding a little bit more information on the history of deaf culture and deaf perspective. I don't know. I guess that's just my kind of my feelings toward it, but yeah. I mean, I'm old, so I mean, there's a lot of things that she could have added in there that could have enriched the perspectives.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like adding a little bit more of history, or even like a little bit more of their everyday today, like usage of like what different deaf technology they might have used. Because they used the video phone, but like maybe different things that was related specifically to the deaf culture that the school had put into place.
Yeah, I agree. I think that with like she set up a class on deaf culture, which allowed her to incorporate Deaf President Now into the book. But I think there was other aspects of deaf culture which she could have incorporated into that more since she did make that into the class.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess this is my last question. Why do you think Charlie's mom pushed back with cochlear implant options for Charlie and um, you know, kind of what she saw, things that um, like health related issues or medical related issues, or the maybe the technology itself, maybe risk of surgery, of the cochlear implant surgery. I mean, cochlear implants don't guarantee successful graduation rates. So why do you think Charlie's mom, like, felt so resistant? Why do you think?
So are we at the question like why Charlie's mom really, really wanted for Charlie to have a cochlear implant?
Yeah. So, um, like she totally disregarded risks. Anything that was that could have gone wrong in the surgery. The mom just seemed to kind of disregard all of that. Um, why do you think? Why do you think that was the case? Charlie kept, Charlie insisted that she didn't want the surgery, but the mom wanted it. Why do you think that was the case?
I think it was because like Charlie's mom was so into like looks with like the way because it talked about how Charlie's mom was so into her appearance and how she would never yell like in public and never like brought attention to herself and always wanted to look good in people's eyes. So I think the fact that she had like probably in her eyes like she even said like a damaged daughter. Obviously, like that's not true, but her daughter wasn't up to standards and couldn't do what she wanted her to do. So she wanted to push for her to be as normal as possible and did not care what Charlie thought. She just wanted the perfect daughter. And she went about that the like a really, really wrong way.
I think that was a really good answer. I think that her mom didn't want to stand out and she saw like she didn't know about deafness, so she thought deafness was standing out, so wanted to get rid of that in the only way that she knew to get rid of that, which was through medical ways instead of like learning for her to adapt to it on the other side. Which, yeah, it was very sad, but that's what she did.
Yes.
Yeah, this really was a great book. Um, I'm really glad we got to read it. And so I know that, I mean, it's not 100%, but it was good. It was a good read. What do y'all
I
think?
enjoyed reading it. I really enjoyed reading it. It kept my attention. I read it in one day, so I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I really felt connected to it and wanted to keep reading. So I thought it was good, especially the way that it was like enjoyable but related to deaf culture. So like anybody would want to read it and then they wouldn't realize that they were like learning so much as they were reading it.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. And it looks like we've got less than a minute left. So thank you guys. Thank you for the discussion. That was great. Um, and thanks for your perspectives.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. It was a good conversation.